to show you right now is called a snatch, a dumbbell snatch. It's also referred to the clean and press with a bar, but we're just going to do it with the dumbbell because based on the response I got from most of you, most of you have either dumbbells or a couple of plates, or you can actually improvise, which I'll show you. That's going to be our next video on how things you can use to improvise if you don't have any actual fitness equipment. All right, so what's going to happen here is you're actually going to start in the same starting position or down position, because really standing is your starting position. Your down position is going to be very similar to the deadlift. Very similar to the deadlift. So I have the dumbbell in one hand. All right, I'm going to drop down as if I'm doing a deadlift. I tend to take a wider stance. So now feet are wider than shoulder width, but back is straight. Bend the knee, drive the hips back. I'm going to come down to that low position. Again, if you can get those hips low, it's going to be really the most productive. But if you're having issues with your knees, that's okay. You can alter your range of motion. But that doesn't mean that you don't follow those first rules of having a correlating movement between the knee and the hip. I'm going to drop it down, drop it down. Now, as I drive up, using the muscles of the upper portion of the leg and the glutes, okay, I'm going to drive up. That weight is going to be dragged up the front of my body. Drag up the front of my body. Here, when I'm just about to the chest, I'm actually going to flip the elbow underneath. So I'm going to flip the elbow underneath, keeping that weight in pretty much the same lateral position, okay? And then it comes to the shoulder, straight up overhead, okay? I'm breaking it down by the numbers, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a smoother, more explosive manner. So now the reverse is from the top position, drop it back down to the shoulder. Elbow comes out of the line. So the elbow turns now back up, keeping that dumbbell in that same line right in the front of the torso as I bring it back down and get to the bottom or the starting position of that exercise, right? So this is the bottom of a squat or deadlift. Drive through the legs, build momentum, and drag that dumbbell up the front of the body until I get just about to the chest where I flip the elbow underneath. See, my body moves just a little bit, and then continue on to that single-handed overhead press. Reverse, come back, elbows up, and drop it back down. So nice and smooth all together, it looks like this. There's nothing wrong with doing it by the numbers. Nothing wrong at all. You can start here, pop it to the shoulder, and then make that a separate move. Nothing wrong with that. But eventually, you'll find that this is actually what it can really do is give you a nice cardio, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, blast, right? Cardio intensity, right? We like that. And so I just showed you with a 10-pound weight because look, here's the deal. I can do this all day long, right? This is just a single armed deadlift. Great, love the exercise. And then I can also do this, which is an upright row. It's an upright row, elbows high, drag at the front of my body. And then I can do, so really it's 3 different exercises put into one, right? But notice this, right? I mean, this is 10 pounds, I could do this all day. The nice thing when you get comfortable with this move is you can start to lift heavier weight that you may not be able to do at least in the upright row or the single arm shoulder press, okay? So this is where momentum becomes our friend. It's always our friend, we love it. But I can't, it's a 30-pound dumbbell now. So I can't, I can't even do one, even if I cheat. I can't do an upright row like that. I could probably bang out, here's an overhead press. But you see, I really have to hoist it up there. But now watch what happens when I use the explosive power or force production from the bottom, right? It's all about the legs and the glutes, pop. Building the momentum and then taking advantage of that momentum through the upright row and transitioning into that overhead press. So it'll look like this now. I'm at the bottom. I know I have to push a lot of force. I need a lot of force to get this thing all the way to the top. There it goes again. Okay, so maybe that's not where your interest lies. I hope it would be. I hope you would realize that there is practical application for your ability to create that momentum force at the bottom, getting that object up to the top. But until you're comfortable with that, it's still the same exercise with a lighter weight. Coming down, dragging it up the front of my body, switching that elbow underneath to an overhead press. And again, I don't want to confuse the issue, but that upright row There's two ways you can do it. And what happens often is when people come up here, they end up doing what's called a reverse grip curl. And we don't want that. Even though you could probably do it with 10 pounds of the dumbbells that you have, I want you to get used to the correct protocol or way to do the exercise. Because once you start lifting that heavy weight, which I know you will, you're going to find it very difficult. Once you try to get that force swinging away from the body, you're going to lose that momentum coming up to the top. So again, it looks like this. It's really a great exercise. Keeping that shoulder, right? Bicep and ear. So I want you strong here, not out to the side. That stresses your shoulder. You want it right as close to the midline as possible. See how I'm kind of leveraged here? Elbow is super straight. Maybe you can see it behind the writing there. That's one of my favorites. I always go back to that for my high intensity interval training. And then the other thing I want to review with you is the plank. So we've got the deadlift, which is a multiple joint exercises, use a lot of energy. It's really should be a foundation of all of your training. If you can do nothing else. Your dumbbell snatch, which can actually be done with a bar, but let me stay on point here, and we have plenty of time to review all of the options or talk about the options for every single type of exercise. Let's just go to the plank. And again, that one's simple. Core stabilization, there's no movement here, right? You have dynamic, you have contraction, and then you have stability, all right? So this is a stabilizing exercise. You are just stabilizing the spine, resisting the force of gravity, right? Gravity wants to pull my body, but especially at the hip. That's a moving part. So if anything's going to fail, it's going to be the moving part. And so that's the whole point of this exercise. Stay nice and straight here, parallel with the deck. Hands are a little bit wider than shoulder width, but directly under the shoulder is fine. But if I drew a line from one shoulder to the other and extended that line about 8 inches, your hands should be on that line directly under the shoulder the entire time. Your weight is in the heel of the palm. Your feet, in this case, let's just say that your feet are between 0 and 12 inches, and your hips do not dip. Your hips do not pike. They stay parallel with the deck and straight. Very simple. A million variations you can do with just this exercise, but we're going to keep it really simple here. Now, if you start to fail, then you, in a very controlled manner, put your knees back to the ground and hold it here. If you start to fail, you can take a break, bring your glutes, hamstrings to your calves, so your glutes go back towards your heels, stretch it out, and then go right back in. Hold it, go back up onto your toes, as long as you can, drop down to your knees, and bring your glutes back to your heels. What we want to avoid is anything or any time in which you lose control of your body. Even in momentum, you're not losing control of your body, you're actually controlling your body, but you're creating an explosive and momentum force for some other part of your body to be able to, almost capture or take control of, right? So that's just something to get you started as I move through the weekend and deal with each one of you based on the equipment that you have and the exercises that you had been doing. For some of you, it's going to be a continuation. For others, we're kind of pretty much going to start from scratch. But remember, the fundamentals of exercise are the same. And I'll be delivering that period of instruction in terms of review about the 1 rep max. That's where I'm going with that. How it applies to exercise prescription. I'm going to cut it there. And then we're going to talk about single joint, multiple joint, and concentric and eccentric phases of the muscle contraction, as well as isometric. I know you're super excited for that and on the edge of your seat. So we will have a quiz probably Monday, but I will be very flexible about this. And I am not here to stress you out. I am here to help you become even stronger to deal with what for some of you may be a more trying situation. Others may be thriving in this. But either way, your physical health is very important and directly related to your mental and intellectual health and capacity. All right, you guys, thank you so much for getting in touch with me. I will be talking to you soon, and I'll have more fun and exciting videos. You can share these if you want. I don't think it's a private channel, so please feel free to subscribe or comment or whatever. Otherwise, listen, have a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon.